In this video, we will be doing a VNTR analysis. Oh no, Whitney has been murdered! The police and a detective are on the scene to collect any DNA evidence they can find to figure out who could be the murderer. After a thorough search, a piece of hair is found in the bedroom near Whitney's body and is brought back to the forensics lab for DNA analysis. There are 4 suspects who were found near the crime scene that are brought in for questioning, including Brian, Justin, Eleanor, and Adam. A DNA sample from each individual and the evidence is amplified at 2 different VNTR loci and run on separate gels to create DNA fingerprints. Here we can see 2 alleles found at different loci for the evidence, the victim, and the 4 suspects. After analysis of the DNA fingerprints, we can determine which one of the suspects could be the culprit of Whitney's murder, though not necessarily meaning he or she is the culprit. The DNA analysis is done by figuring out which suspect matches all alleles and loci of the found hairpiece. If a suspect does not match all alleles for any given locus, then they can be excluded from leaving the DNA evidence. In VNTR locus 1, we can see that the bands or alleles of the evidence match at the same loci with that of Whitney. This means that her profile is consistent with leaving the DNA evidence at the crime scene, and we cannot rule her out just yet. For Brian, both alleles do not match at the same loci with the evidence. This means we can exclude Brian from leaving the DNA evidence. For Justin, the top allele matches at the same loci with the evidence. However, the bottom allele does not match, so we can exclude Justin from leaving the DNA evidence. For Eleanor, her alleles match at the same loci with that of the evidence, so her profile is consistent with leaving the DNA evidence, and we cannot rule her out. For Adam, same thing as Eleanor and Whitney. His alleles also matches at the same loci with that of the evidence, so we cannot rule him out yet. In VNTR locus 2, we can see that the loci of the alleles are different in comparison to VNTR locus 1. This will help narrow down which suspect could be the culprit. In locus 1, we saw that Whitney's alleles match with that of the evidence. However, in locus 2, we see that the alleles do not match, so now we can exclude Whitney that she left the DNA evidence. For Brian, we can already disregard him from leaving the DNA evidence since his alleles did not match at locus 1. Brian's alleles may have a match at locus 2, but the rule of VNTR analysis is that the suspect who could be the murderer must have a perfect match with the evidence at both locus 1 and 2. For Justin, we have already excluded him at locus 1, so we can rule him out. For Eleanor, we did not exclude him in locus 1. In locus 2, Eleanor's top allele has a match. However, her bottom allele does not have a match, so now she can be excluded from leaving the DNA evidence. Finally, for Adam, we did not exclude him in locus 1. In locus 2, both of Adam's alleles matches at the same loci with that of the evidence. Since Adam matches all alleles of and loci of the evidence, this means that he could be the culprit for Whitney's murder. Another thing to mention is that Eleanor is a biological parent of Adam. If you look at and compare Eleanor's alleles and Adam's alleles, Eleanor shares at least one allele with Adam at both locus 1 and 2. This shows that Eleanor's DNA fingerprint is consistent with her being the biological parent of Adam. This is the end of the presentation. The cartoon character images were made of my own work. Thank you for watching.